Well, hello, my lovies out there in this beautiful magic world. Today is Sunday Easter, if indeed you do celebrate that. This is your High Priestess, Lady Lisa, and I consider every day that I am able to wake up, eat, and help others in any way that I can a special day. So it's not necessarily that I don't celebrate Easter, but I don't go all out for it either. Um, and no judgment towards those who do. I just look at every day as a birthday. I look at every day as a gift, and I look at every day as a special and beautiful moment. I just kind of wanted to jump on real quick because there's a lot of questions that have been being asked by my lovely, lovely people who are subscribed to my channel and are booking work with me and or have had work with me, and this is the reason that I love to teach. And if I seem like I'm being a little bit quiet, I am, because the house is full. And I don't always like people to hear what I'm talking about, and excuse me, because it's one of those days where the allergies are kicking up. And thank goodness my eyes aren't baggy, because I did sleep wonderfully last night. So last night I did 2 spells, and they were for my own personal gain, and they were for my husband, will say this, of 15 years that I've been having major complications with in our relationship. Our relationship has kind of come to an halt. It's more like we are roommates who tolerate each other versus friends, and what a somewhat normal relationship would it be. So I did a truth spell for him, because me, as an educated woman and a very powerful psychic, I know that he has done things to me that a man should not do to a woman outside of the relationship, and I want him to confess that to me out of his own mouth, so that I can then forgive him and then move on and close that chapter. And until I can close that chapter and move on, I need to hear it from him. And I did a truth spell on him last night, so that when the universe grants the request, I will go ahead and ask him the questions that I need the truth to, and then he will answer them truthfully. I also did a love spell on him last night as well, so that he can love me the way that he used to love me, and treat me the way that I feel that I deserve to be treated. And, you know, I don't ask for much. I never was that type of person to ask for much. I was always the giver, not the taker. And if anybody was to give me anything, then I accepted it with open arms. But I would rather give than receive. That was always the person I am, and I will always remain that person in this world and in the physical world. A physical world and the next world, rather. So let me just set a few things straight, okay? As I said in a recent video, magic is intriguing, okay? The magical world is intriguing. It's intriguing to me still to this day, 45 years later. And YouTube has become infested with witches, psychics, mediums, and magic, okay? Growing up, I always knew that I was different, okay? And I always knew there was something different about my grandmother as well. And me and my grandmother were extremely tight, like very close. Like it almost felt like she was my mother, not my biological mother. And when I was 5, I had gone to her and I explained to her what I was seeing. I wasn't afraid of what I was seeing, and the stuff that was happening. And she then explained to me, well, you're old enough and you're wise enough to understand that you were born in a witchery, This is a generational thing, and you are a witch, and you are a psychic, and you can see the spirits, and you can do all kinds of things. And as you grow, you're only going to become stronger once you embrace your gifts. And then that's when she read me my first tarot hand. And the point of the story is, back in the day, before the Salem witch trials, when witches were not afraid to announce that they were witches, they were working with the universe and they were working with nature. Okay, I'm going to tell you that if someone is a witch and worships God, God from the Bible, or they worship anything but the universe, that they're not good or they're wrong. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, being a witch and taught by a very powerful, educated, wise witch, my grandmother, I have never encountered or came across a witch that did not offer and do anything and everything with the universe. Because again, back in the day, before the Salem witch trials, everything was done in nature and with the universe. Okay, if you wanted a reading by a witch or a psychic, they read you with a rock. They read you with leaves. They read you with a stick. And really what it wasn't the actual device. It was the energy pull. Okay, when my grandmother first read me my 3-card tarot deck at the age of 5 in my Aunt Mary's kitchen, she pulled 3 cards out, and her deck always stayed in her black cloak with her broom and her black hat and her black glasses, and they were in a rubber band. They didn't come in a box, and they didn't come with a book, because back in the day they weren't made to come with a book, because if you were a real witch and a real psychic, you could read somebody with a rock. Okay, so she read me my first 3 cards, and I'll never forget, the first card came up that I would live a very long age. The second card came up that I would get married. And the third card came up that would I get married, but I would have 3 kids with this man. Okay, and there was more decks to come after that and everything else. My grandmother did not pass until I had my second child. I have 3 altogether, but my second child is now 23. So it's like couple months after my second child was born that my grandmother passed. But up until then, my grandmother taught me almost everything that I know. After that, I never looked to another witch to teach me anything. I just let my grandmother guide me through the light. And I just worked with what made sense to me. Okay, and one of the things I want to address is, when you're working with the universe is not non-judgmental. The universe is the universe. It's beautiful, and love is love. Okay, and I had a couple clients that had fallen in love with the same-sex person. They were gay, and they wanted the person that they loved to be gay, and I did that spell for them, and it was successful. There's a lot of work into it, a lot of effort on the client's part, a lot of work on my part as well, but overall they were successful. In the middle of one of those clients' spells, one of the rules is no talking to anybody while the spell is being done, and he recently told me that he went to 7 witches total, me included. 2 other witches, including myself, told him that this could be done, and then 4 witches told him that it could not be done. And I told him, well, I feel that was wrong for them to do that, because I'm going to give you 2 or 3 examples why I feel it was wrong for them to have told him that. One is, I can sit here and tell you that I will never eat liver, but I can't tell you, well, I can because I'm a psychic, but if I wasn't a psychic, I would not be able to say to you, I don't like the taste of liver unless I've tried it. So either the witches that told him that that's not possible to turn somebody gay that isn't gay, well, either then they've tried the spell and it didn't work for them, or they just don't believe in people being gay. Okay, that's one. Two, it's contradicting themselves, because if you do a love spell, okay, and the person you're doing it, because one of the most requested spells in the world is a love spell, okay? You want the person to love you the way they used to, or the way you want to be loved, so you do a love spell. That is forcing will upon somebody. It is not in their nature to love you. If it was, then they would love you. So you go and you get a love spell done, okay? So they contradicted themselves when they said if it's not in the person's nature to be gay, then you cannot make them gay. Well, then, if it's not in the person's nature to love a person, then you cannot make a person love somebody. And that gets done every day. Witches do love spells every day. So these witches contradicted themselves. Also, if you do an obsession spell, which is done all the time, if it's not in their nature to be obsessed with you, but yet you do the spell and now the person becomes obsessed with you, well, then it wasn't in their nature to be obsessed with you, but you made it happen. So that's a contradiction on them witches' part as well. And two, okay, if you fall out of love with your significant other one and you fall in love with somebody else, but because the other person still loves you, you can't move forward with the new love in the right way, because they're always calling you, they're always coming around, seeing what you're doing, showing up to your job. So you come to a witch and you want them to forget about you and move on with their life, so you can now move on with your new love. Well, if it wasn't in their nature to stop loving you, and you force will upon them to stop loving you, and it becomes successful, as I do a lot of those as well, well, then that's a contradiction to turning someone that isn't gay, because it wasn't in their nature. Do you understand where I'm going with this? And this is why I like to teach. And back to the tarot cards. I know a lot of you on my page love tarot cards, oracle decks, okay? And you're trying to learn tarot and oracle. And what I'm trying to teach you is you cannot go by the book. You have to learn to pull the energy, okay? Because I'll give you two examples with that as well. If you come to me, and I've read many, many people with poker decks. I've done it in groups. I've done it live. I've done it at psychic parties. I've done it all the time, many times. It is not the Queen of Spades or the Queen of Hearts that tells me what's going on. It's your energy. So let's hypothetically say I came to a psychic party and I read somebody with a rock, and I told them everything that they needed to know, answers to things that I couldn't have known, things that I couldn't have known. And they knew it was all true, but yet they walked away saying that couldn't have been right, even though they know it was right because it was done by a rock. But if I was to go in and flip 3 tarot cards and tell them all the wrong information, they would say that it was right because they seen it come from tarot cards. Okay? What I'm trying to say to you is, if you come across the Joker or the Wheel of Fortune, or the Six of Cups or the Two of Swords, if you pull them cards for 70 people, whether it comes upside down or upside right, or however you want to identify the card, it is going to mean something differently for each and every person, because each and every person's question is going to be different, their fate is going to be different, their destiny is going to be different, and their energy pool is going to be different. If you go by the book, then that means that card is going to mean the same thing for all 70 people, and that is not possible. Okay? So I'm just letting you know that when you hear these things, or you see psychics doing things like that, just take heed to what I'm saying and use your own common sense how that doesn't make any sense, okay? First, there was no cards. It was nature's way of reading you. Then cards came about with no booklet. And then the New Age magic came along, and then all of a sudden there's a booklet that tells you what the card means. No, It's an energy pull that tells you what's going on. Basically, not the crystal ball, not the pendulum, but basically the cards can have some representation to the energy. They definitely can, because if you're shuffling and you're pulling strict and straight energy, and you pull 3 cards out, and you go by what the picture looks like according to the energy, then that can absolutely 100% legit mean something. Okay. But other than that, if you're just flipping cards out and you're going by what the picture represents, or you're going by what the book says, and you're not pulling energy, then you're not giving a correct reading. You're not understanding the cards. And that's the truth. And I don't care what anybody else tells you, that's the truth. And second of all, but a lot of this new age witchcraft going on, as the world revolves, people change, their identities change, and we accept that, because a lot of us are not open-minded. We don't want to be open-minded. We want to remain puppets, and we want to stick to what's acceptable to society. Okay? And that's not the case when it comes to witchcraft. You have to have discernment, and you have to be educated, and you have to be able to decipher, and you have to have common sense. Okay? So many people, when they're doing witchcraft, will call their circle opening and their circle closing different. Some will call it laying the compass. I heard that. Some will call it whatever, whatever. I say opening and closing of a circle. I was taught traditionally, simply, and easy to understand and follow. It's opening and closing the circle. When I open and close a circle, okay, I have to draw a circle of salt that is large enough for my body and everything that I need to use for the casting in that circle. Okay, someone had asked me, well, what is the circle of salt for? Well, we all know salt is used for protection. Okay, when you open your circle and you get in the salt, it's protecting you from the physical world, the spiritual world, from harming you during casting. Okay, so I've never come across a witch who told people that when they're done their candle, the magic, and they offer it up and they finalize it, you are to sit it in a circle of salt. Wherever you put that magic, the candle is to be encased in a circle of either sea salt, regular salt that has been saged, black salt, or graveyard dirt. I prefer graveyard dirt, but I work with anything as long as it's saged. And I will put a circle of salt at the very bottom, and I will set the candle in that salt. The same way I make my circle to protect me during casting, I protect the candle, because the magical world and the spiritual world can harm you in many, many different ways, and it can harm and affect the magic as well. As each and every one of us, whether we're evil or we're not evil, we have protectors on the other side. And if, for example, I am putting a hex on somebody and they don't know that they're getting the hex put on, but their protectors do, their spirit guides do, so they will come and try to defeat the magic. So that protects the magic from being defeated. Ultimately, it can only be defeated by Mother Universe. However, it can affect the magic work by taking too long. The candle might have to be redone. It all depends on the markings on the candle, how the candle winds up looking. Did the flame go out and won't relight? All that kinds of stuff. But if you put it in a circle of salt and you're protecting it throughout its burning, well, then that would make sense, wouldn't it? But no other witch teaches that in life, okay? So I'm just on here teaching you what I know, what I was taught, and what works best for me. So you can start to figure out in your journey in the magical world what works best for you, what you're most comfortable with, and you can work with that. You can take a little bit from the pagan witchcraft. You can take a little bit from the kitchen witch. You can take a little bit from the Wicca. You could take a little bit from the traditional teaching, and then you can make it your own witchcraft, and it works for you. but also during the course of you practicing and working with this magical world, you also have to use common sense and be protective, okay? And when things don't feel right, if you're working with people and it doesn't feel right, if you're working with devices that doesn't feel right, or things just don't make sense, don't always think Google's right. Don't always think the person you're looking up on YouTube is correct. You know, do some searching, look at some feedback, feel the waters out, and then go with what's most comfortable and makes sense to you. Okay? So before I end oh my goodness, before I end this video and go into a reading really soon, I am going to jump in the bath and cleanse myself and get in some comfy clothes. But always remember, the way to get free things from me is to subscribe, hit the bell button so you know when I come on. Leave your little beautiful remarks down below. It can just be a hello. It even can be a debate to the video. It's not not what you say, it's how you say it. There will be no negative feedback permitted on my page. You will be blocked and reported instantly. I will not tolerate negative or mean or evil words on this page. Okay, that's not what we do here. Okay, we're here to love one another, not judge one another, accept one another, and help one another and lift one another up. So with that being said, my other phone is going off like crazy, so it's probably something that I need to answer. So with that being said, love and light. Ask me any questions that you may ask me. Put your comments below. I will be picking my winner by the end of April. Okay, and I will be going live really shortly. I probably will do that with the poker deck, just to show you all that it's a straight energy pull. It's not actually the cards. And again, with love and light, stay healthy, stay safe, go out only if you need to. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, dispose of that as soon as you can. Wash them hands as much as possible. And if you would like to book a reading or a brush up reading or a consultation, I don't know, I mix my words up sometimes. Or you want to know if the witch or the psychic you're working with is even worth it, you can book all that with me. I will help you. My number via text would be 267-902-8899. Again, 267-902-8899. And this is your high priestess, Lady Lisa. Happy Easter, happy Sunday, happy every day. Love, light, and blessings and positive energy. Until the next video, so mote it be.